It's time for the 32081 Scoreboard Show. Let's recap the latest weekly scores and highlights from around the county.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the 32081 Scoreboard Show as we get you ready for the 2025 high school football season. Joining us now on the show, one of the most energetic coaches you will ever meet, Coach Sean McIntyre from the Creekside Knights football team. Coach, thank you for joining us on the show today.
Todd, I appreciate you having me. I love what I do, so it's easy to have an abundance of energy when every day you are excited about showing up to where you go to work. And, I'm very blessed. I've never had a day of work in my life. I get to have fun with these kids in this program. And I'm so blessed that I have a wife and a family that supports this mission and allows me to be the way that I am. It's truly a blessing.
So, Coach, here's something I didn't share with you before the show, but I actually met you about 4 years ago when my son was in 8th grade and went to one of your Creekside Knights camps for the football players. Like you know how they kind of all shared they all went all over the place because everyone knew everybody from baseball and they were in middle school. And I remember that you were out front shaking hands, talking with parents, greeting the kids, energetic. And over the years, I have friends that had their kids play on the Creekside Knights football team for you, and they say that's just you. That's you 100%. So I've got to ask you, at this point, how important it is to you to maintain that type of relationship, not just with the players, but obviously the parents and fans also see it from, they say, with their engagement with you over the seasons?
Yeah, it's just me being real. That's just who I am. I'm excited about being here. I'm excited about what we're doing. I'm excited about making kids better people, better humans, better football players, better students, better brothers, husbands one day, sons, hopefully one day fathers. I'm excited about that on a daily basis. And, at youth camp, we get 4 days with those kids. And so having a great experience, right? Like whether they come to Creekside or not, I could really care less. I want them to be excited about playing football somewhere. I think playing high school football is one of the greatest endeavors a young man can partake upon because it is hard. We are in a society where we are so results driven, and social media has only just magnified that. But now in football, it is one of the few sports where you train way more than you play, and having some delayed gratification, learning how to really work and strain through things and become a better version of yourself, and then seeing those rewards down the road, not tomorrow, not the next day, not the next week, not even really the next month. Sometimes for our kids, it's years down the road, right? That they have that opportunity for all of that work to kind of have compiled and compounded upon itself, and then to have a chance to really make a difference in our team, in our program, and hopefully more importantly in our community and in our school and in their household. So, I'm just excited about those opportunities. And with the youth camp, we've had an awesome time with that each year. And the best part is watching our kids interact and engage with the young kids. When I get the emails at the end of the week, my son had such a great time with so-and-so player. Like we clap it up for those kids. They get some t-shirts because that's what I want. I want our kids creating long-lasting, meaningful relationships and us having the ability to really impact them and us to grow the game of football because I think it is that meaningful.
So, Coach, let's get the obvious out of the way. Heading into 2025, this is going to be the first time in 4 years that Sean Ashenfelder is not going to be on the field with you. He's a great quarterback, great leader, just a great kid. Also, I followed him since he was in 7th and 8th grade over at Patriot Oaks. You have Jackson Visconti. I've also seen Harrison Letty, who obviously works out with Cole Northrup. So I've seen some of his videos and also seen him in some 7-on-7 games. As you've gone through spring and these summer workouts, what has impressed you most about these two quarterbacks battling for that QB1 spot?
Yeah, and there's a third kid, a young named Rozzy Sperry, who transferred into our school in June. He's from Texas, and we've never really had a situation where we've had three kids as close as they are competitively, and they don't really they do a great job of keeping the room kind of the same way it's always been. Our kids love each other. They take care of each other. It's not like it's a competitive nature where, hey, man, I want you to do badly so it looks good for me. It's like, I want you to do great, and I'm going to go out and one-up you. So we're in a little bit of a unique situation. There were some years where we were really we've obviously been very blessed. Our first 2 years, we had Ty Lavatai. And he got the program kind of started. he was an unbelievable quarterback. And then we've had Sean the last few years, and Wilson Edwards in there, and Jacob Denny. But there were some years where we were lining up receivers at quarterback and doing some different things. And as my wife reminded me last week, like when we were talking about like having 3 quarterbacks, and they all are really good players, and they all would play a lot of years for us. These are problems we prayed for, which is kind of crazy. So they're all good kids. They're all great young men. And that's what makes it like every little thing right now with them. It matters, and we've kind of talked to them through this, and they're doing a great job handling it. And just in this endeavor, as with any other, all they can control is what they can control. And this winter I went up to Army, and we're running Army's defense now, and we got some strength and conditioning stuff from them. And when I was there, in every single meeting room, in the team meeting room, on every wall in the facility, there is a schedule that's printed. And every one of the dates, it says their opponent is Army. And, I got to give full credit to Coach Monken. I stole that. And now I've printed off about 25 big 3-foot by 2-foot schedules for 2025. And it says that every Friday night, whether, the game might be at Bartram Trail High School week 4, it says location Bartram Trail High School, the opponent is Creekside. And those kids at the quarterback spot, that's what they're really competing with. They're not competing with each other. They're competing with themselves to be the best versions of themselves. And that's what we're striving to be here at our school, at our football program. Every week when we go to line up, we're trying to compete with ourselves to be the best version of us. And if we can be the best version of us, that's all we can control. And if you beat teams with that, that's good. And if you don't, that's okay too. Sometimes you play people that are better than you. So just being the best version of us, like I tell the kids all the time, there have been many Friday nights over the last 8 seasons where we won a game and I didn't sleep very well because we didn't play very well. Or we lost the game and I slept like a baby because we played about as good as we could play. And so it just is us trying to learn how to be an elite competitor. Elite competitors, the opponent is nameless, the opponent is faceless. You're competing to be the best version of you. And that's the competitive nature that we strive to have here.
That's awesome. I love that. That's really cool that you got that out of Army and now implement it here at the high school level. That's incredible. And now that we talked about the quarterback position, I got to say this, that looking at the stats from last year, I think we really got to talk about how you feel about the O-line because, like I said, looking back on last year, your leading rusher was averaging just under 140 yards per game, it looked like. And then Sean, as a dual threat quarterback, was at 62 yards per game and right around 200 yards in the air, which when I look at that, I think, wow, yeah, give some credit to that O-line. So now going into this season, how do you feel about the O-line and having a balanced attack, pretty much really close to what you had last year?
Yeah, there was, not only did we replace 5 starting offensive linemen, the 3 kids who saw significant reps last year due to injury or illness or tiredness or just because they deserved it were also seniors. So we really graduated 8 offensive linemen who had meaningful playing time. So everybody who is playing on our offensive line right now is untested, unproven, hasn't been through the fire. Now, I'm very blessed. I believe that our offensive line coach, Coach Spera, is one of the best offensive line coaches. And every year our kids are as developed and as good as they can possibly be. Our offensive coordinator, Coach Barnes, cut his teeth as an offensive line coach. So they do a great job in developing them. And our kids have to get developed and be developed. They have to continue to grow, continue to push. We know there's going to be some trials and tribulations as you roll out 5 new kids. But we're excited about what those kids are excited about their opportunities. They've worked really hard. And we have some really good kids up front who are going to work really hard and battle their butt off.
To round out talking about the offense, I expect rising senior Aaron Satteros to be one of your top receivers this year. He played well last year, but he will draw a lot of attention. He's well known. People know that he's probably going to be a top target after averaging 660 yards last year per game. And he's tall also. And he runs great routes. How is the rest of the receiving group looking in order to hopefully avoid some double teams on Aaron and, spread the ball around? Yeah,
for sure. Aaron was kind of coming into his own last year. And happened to break his collarbone week 7 against Atlantic Coast. And he had just become our leading receiver and was doing a really good job in both one-on-one situations and zone situations and different things and really understanding how to get open. So, yeah, we expect a lot of productivity from Aaron. But we've had some nice surprises. There was a young man we moved from corner to receiver named Garen Blaylock. Last year was his first year playing football as a junior. He was a basketball kid that wanted to come out and give it a shot. And he's very dynamic. He's probably one of our most athletic kids, probably maybe the most athletic kid we've ever lined up at receiver. And then we have a couple other seniors in Blake Seeger and Chase Dolan, who are kids who know how to get open. They know our system. They know what routes to run, how to sit it down in the zone and figure things out. So there's some kids out there to kind of, if people want to take Aaron away, to find that our quarterbacks will definitely be able to find and be able to move the ball around. So as long as we can keep our quarterbacks, upright and moving around, we'll feel good about some of those options.
And, you mentioned Blake Seeger. One of the things also with him is that he's also a very good route runner, as I watched over the years. And it seems like he also can get lost sometimes in the melee with the routes that he runs. So how do you see his integration into the offense?
Yeah, for sure. Blake was dealing with some injuries last year and didn't, just kind of held him back and hampered him. And we're hoping he's full go this year and ready to roll. He's a really smooth kid. He does a great job catching all balls. His catch radius, even though he's, only probably about 5'11", his catch radius is pretty big because he's very good at getting himself in position to move and catch the ball. And he catches balls in traffic, catches balls when he's open.
He's fast too.
Down and now, yeah, he's a very smooth route runner. And so he can kind of get on some DB's toes and be able to move around. So yeah, we're excited and we're happy for Blake that he's back with us. He's kind of dealt with some things that, just some injuries and some illnesses and some different things that were out of his control. But right now he's controlling all that he can. And we're excited to see how his senior year unfolds for sure. We're hoping that he gets the opportunity to just go out and let it rip all year.
If that core can stay healthy, you're pretty good at wide receiver if they can stay healthy through the season.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, we feel good about the frontline guys for sure, and seeing what they have, and then there's some guys behind them that are gonna, if things happen and people get hurt or tired or whatever, there's gonna be some guys that have to step up and fill in. Like we have a sophomore named Timmy Goodrich. He's doing a really good job for us. So there's some young guys, and then some juniors and seniors who are gonna have to fill that void on special teams and on the wide receiver room when guys get gassed and tired.
So on defense, Josh Guy, I've followed him since I think he played with my son starting at 9 or 10 on Pop Warner. So I'm really familiar watching him, and a great defensive player. But he led averaging 3 tackles per game for you last year. I know you've had some losses from graduation with obviously seniors moving on. But how has the defense looked in the spring and the summer? Backfilling with some juniors and sophomores.
Yeah, we bring back more DBs this year than we've brought back in a while. Both of our starting safeties are returning seniors, Jackson Earl and Kyle Payton, and those two, along with Josh Guy at linebacker and Asher Usazada and Blake Weeks and Sutton Hooker up there. And then Rowan Thompson up front with Caleb Maryberry, who's a rising junior. We feel really good about the core of our defense. So for us on defense, it's always been about, we have done a pretty good job recently of holding people down, but then we will give up an explosive touchdown. And so, there are times when we play out of 20 plays, 18 of them are tremendous, but we've given up 14 points because we gave up 2 explosive touchdowns. So the scoreboard doesn't, reflect the way that we're playing defense a vast majority of the time. So we have, and when you give up 14 points and 2 drives, you're not playing good defense too. So there's a lot of that too. So having our kids understand that every single play, we've got to be the same way. We can't have a lapse. We can't have a letdown. We've got to hold people down right now and be able to play really good defense, make them earn it all the way down the field. If we make a team have a 10-plus play drive, well, good for them. But we can't let them have a 40, 50, 60-yard touchdown because those are just too easy to give up.
Coach, last question for you. Looking at the schedule, you open up against Mandarin, so it's nothing like getting tested right out of the gate at home against a good Mandarin squad. With that said, though, I expect the atmosphere to be electric at the Castle, and I'm just curious, for people going out to a Creekside football game, what do you think the atmosphere is that they can expect when they got to that game on the 22nd of August?
Yeah, I hope it's, there were some years that we've had, and every year is a little different. Last year, I don't know if it was our most raucous crowds. But, 2022, 2023, 2021, the year after COVID, was probably one of the best. You better get there early because there's not a lot of seating at Creekside. It gets very packed very quickly. So we've had some awesome environments to play in, and we've had some awesome games with some awesome teams that we've had the opportunity to be in late in the game. And so, I would expect that the crazies are out in full effect and full force. And if you've never been to Creekside for a game, I would highly recommend trying to make a trip over here. Our kids and our fans and our environment is one of the best, in my opinion. And there's a lot of good ones in North Florida, but ours is a week by week basis where it's really good and really consistent and fun to be a part of.
I know you say about the crowd and the size and stadium doesn't hold that much because, a lot of the St. Johns County newer stadiums are like that. But I got to tell you, Coach, I agree with you. I've been to some games out there, and that home side is really loud. They get into it. They really do. They start jumping up and down. So it's a very impressive atmosphere and culture that you guys have grown over there. So congratulations on that. I do want to say thank you for joining us. Best of luck during the season. I hope we can catch up. We definitely will be covering and get on the scoreboard show with the scores and everything. Hopefully you'll join us later in the season and, kind of see how things are going. And again, we can't say thank you enough for taking time out of your busy schedule.
We appreciate you. We're excited for the 2025 season. We've got some awesome kids here, and I've got awesome coaches around me that are able to impact them. And we're excited to get going on Monday and see where the chips lay. So we'll check in whenever you need. Please give me a call and shoot me a text. I'd love to catch up.
And be sure to go out and support the Creekside Knights this season as they kick it off. On Friday, August 22nd, the kickoff time will be 7 o'clock as they host the Mustangs from Mandarin High School. And then they will be traveling on Friday, August 29th over to Nice. And then once again, they'll return home to face Spruce Creek on Friday, September 5th at 7 o'clock. Once again, thank you to Coach Sean McIntyre for stopping by the studios to talk football with us. And thank you for listening to the 32081.
Thank you for listening to the 32081. We hope you enjoyed today's episode.
I love the show, guys. You're awesome.
Please don't forget to subscribe to the show so you can join us for the next episode.
I never miss an episode. It's the best.
Until next time, take care.